So, obviously a lot to get into today. Spike will join us at 4 as he continues, I guess, working his way down here. But I don't know if he'll ever make his way down here. He's walking. So
he'll get here at some point.
He'll get here at some point. And obviously some Eagle stuff to get into. But, I'm feeling Phils, man. A couple weeks ago we did the whole World Series thing, and I was trying to temper expectations. I really was. Because, I feel like when expectations get too high, then the heartbreak happens if they don't reach those expectations. But damn it, Ike.
There you go.
I'm ready to buy all in, man.
Let them hang. Let them hang.
Often do. That's what we do on this show. We let them hang. And the expectations, it feels like as we are getting closer and closer to first pitch, 28 days from opening day, it feels like the expectations are starting to rise on them. And the nice part is that it doesn't seem like the Phillies are shying away from it. Mm-hmm. Last year, the Eagles, they kept saying over and over again, we're not going to talk about last year. We're not going to talk about last year. Not going to talk about last year. Well, the Phillies so far, they're making it very clear that their goal is to win the World Series. And the way they've played so far down spring training, I know it's only spring training, but they look more locked in. Topper's working on bunting with the boys, make sure that they're cleaning up all the edges of everything. And I love the current vibe of what's going on with the Phillies. And where I'm at, because I feel like there is a bit of a groundswell here with the whole division. Feels like people are already ready to concede the division to the Braves, and I think a lot of that has to do with what's happened in the postseason in the last 2 years. People viewing the Braves as a better team, and the Phillies going on a run without winning the division. But I need this baseball team to compete for the division this year. It's time. No more of this. Get off to a slow start, crawl your way out of it. Get hot in June and ride that wave into September. Get in and see what happens. I need this team competing for the division, and I'm not conceding it.
Yeah, listen, I understand wanting to sort of move the bar and not be the team that's hot late in the season as you struggle to get through the regular season and then rely on, somewhat of a run or magical run, however you want to phrase it, to sort of pin your hopes on that for success as you get to the postseason. I'm not saying that's the formula you should use, and I'm not saying winning the division is not important. I just don't think it is as important as it used to be. There is something to the grind of the regular season, getting through the regular season, and making sure you're playing at your best late in the season. Now, I don't want them to get off to the slow starts they've gotten off to the last 2 years, and we need the June Schwarber and
firing of
Girardi, and then the August run of last year. My goodness, what a run that was for this team in August of last year. I'm not saying that's the blueprint for success, but I think there is something to challenging for that division. Right? I want to see the Phillies challenge the Braves for this division, but they've already proven they're the best team in this division the last 2 years. Now, the Braves may have been the best regular season team, but they clearly weren't the best postseason team.
No.
So no hyperbole. This is actual head-to-head matchup. Phillies taking them out the last 2 years in the postseason.
Yeah, well, and it's a great bit. It's a great bit the Phillies have going on. But the Braves also do have the ring. 2021, they won the division and they got a World Series ring. Mm-hmm. The Phillies don't have that. They've had 2 great postseasons that last year ended in heartbreak, but were really good. I just, the days of the division being over in early September or, pretty much the last 2 years, that's what it's been. I can't have that this year. And I think it is a big deal for this team to compete and really be in the division race. Win the division would be phenomenal. And I do think that stuff matters because, I know the last 2 postseasons have been great. But at the same time, they got a home series against the Marlins. It's a 3-game series. Yeah. Anything can happen. So, taking out I feel there's more variables the more games that go on. Usually the best team wins. 3 games will worry me. So if I can get a bye there, that would do wonders. And the last 2 years, they've gone down and they've been able to steal game 1 on the road in Atlanta. If they don't do that in back-to-back years, who knows how the series goes?
Yeah.
So, I do think we've gotten a little bit too, not lazy, but lackadaisical with the whole, just make the playoffs and anything can happen. I want this team competing towards the top of this division, being with the Braves, and not winning the division would be disappointing to me. It would be a disappointment for me if they don't come out and they don't win the division. Well, is it the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
But compete for the division and take it home.
Okay, so the details matter, right? Like losing the division by 10 games is not acceptable.
Be disappointing.
Yeah. But if you were to lose the division by 2 games coming down the stretch, it's been back and forth. You guys have been sort of battling throughout the season, and even you go in September with a legitimate chance at being divisional champs. Yeah, I think people will find that acceptable, especially if you're talking about 90-plus wins and that 95, 96, potentially 97 win range. And that's the type of capability I think this team has as long as they stay healthy for the majority of the season. I know everybody isn't going to stay healthy all season long. And, hell, you mentioned the Braves. They won the World Series without Acuna even playing in the World Series that year, or the postseason for them that year. So I understand having your best players available, but I'm also saying this. There's something about being battle-tested. There's something about having that as a part of your DNA, and that's the one thing the Phillies do have going for them. And that disappointment and heartbreak and letting down not only yourselves and your teammates or what have you, but letting down the city, letting down the fan base. I think a lot of that stuff plays into what drives this team. I just don't think the Braves, the Phillies, for me to – I don't know if the Phillies are better than the Braves on paper. I just like what the Phillies have from a DNA standpoint.
Yes.
More than I do the Braves. And I know they won the World Series a few years ago. But there's something about this matchup with this team where this team, meaning the Phillies, does not fear the Braves.
They don't. And that's a great thing.
Yeah, something about that.
And listen, this is what the Braves get for letting Freddie Freeman walk. Like they shouldn't be able to go back to the World Series just because you replace him with 54 home runs for Matt Olson. And Matt Olson's a good player, but you're letting an all-time Brave go? Yeah, you don't get to just, waltz your way back into a World Series. 215-592-9494 is how you get in. Does it matter to you if the Phillies win the NL East this year, or is it no big deal? Because I think it's good. I think a lot of people say it's no big deal. For me, it is a big deal because I want them to be like an actually really good team. 90 wins, fine. I want to be more in the 95 to 100 range.
Yes.
And I think they should be in the 95 to 100 range.
I agree.
It's been so interesting because the last couple of years, the regular seasons have just been disappointments for the amount of talent they have. I give them credit for turning it on, and it's great. But I don't want that again. Like the slow start this year would be pretty brutal. Here's their schedule in April. They go Reds. I know the Reds improved.
That's a series win.
Yeah, but it's a good better baseball team.
Young baseball team.
Yeah, Ellie De La Cruz. We'll see how he is in year 2. They go Reds, Nationals, Cardinals, Pirates, Rockies, White Sox, Reds, Padres, Angels. That's all in April.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a 20-win month. I mean, like it
certainly needs to be somewhere between 15 and 20 wins.
Cannot be a 500 month.
No.
Cannot be a 500 month.
And I listen. We're still early in spring training, so I don't want to put the cart before the horse. You certainly want to get out of spring training with all your big dogs healthy, and that means your everyday players as well as your pitchers and bullpen guys. So you want to get through spring training as healthy as possible, and I think that allows you to get off to a faster start, and then maybe this thing can start to snowball. I'm not telling you that I don't think your premise is correct. I just look at it as it's how this thing sort of plays out. Again, if the Braves were to win, 98, 99 games and the Phillies win 96, 97 games.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're both a really good team.
Yes.
Both a really good team.
Yes, and that's kind of the way I see it. And that's kind of the way I see it right now. And especially since, we're not even out of the whole Jordan Montgomery situation.
They are not.
Yeah, so that still can play itself out in favor of the Phillies. I just like where the ball club is at this year. I look at this team and I say this is the team as of right now, gives us the best chance to win a World Series. This team does. I look at the health factor. I look at the intangibles. I look at where guys are at as far as the prime of their careers. Are they closer to playing in their prime versus past their prime, or not reached their prime yet? Like, this is the one team that I feel like has more pieces that add up to this is the time versus any other team.